So Kamala has picked her vice president.
Yes.
Now, originally, it was supposed to be Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. That's what they were saying.
I never thought that.
Well, that's what they were saying.
Man.
What's actually interesting is that when you watch his speeches, he actually reminds me of Obama. They were calling him Barack Obama because he's Jewish.
Yes.
And of course, Pennsylvania is one of those states where it could go either way,
Right.
so it would make sense for, for
But
her
it
to go
doesn't
there.
really make sense because there's no, of the last 35, 40 years, there's never been any proof that a vice president delivers the state he's from. Never.
Okay, good point.
Look at the Bill Clinton and Gore were from the South. Both of them were from the South. Arkansas and Tennessee. Biden is from Delaware. Kamala's from California. Nothing, so there's no one. Trump is from New York. Pence was from Indianapolis. So there's never been any empirical data that suggested that were true. I think that's a fiction of media primarily. But I think all you can do is pick the person who you feel the most comfortable with, who's going to be. Kamala's in a unique position to me because she is the vice president to a man who was a vice president, a two-term vice president, to a historical figure. So he was a two-term president to a black man. So he picked a female black woman for his presidency. She learned what that being in the vice presidency was all about. And it's very rare that somebody from the vice presidency ascends to the level she did before. So you have to pick somebody who you feel like you can get along with for 8 years and who you'll work in lockstep. You'll be in sabbatical. Like, she never tried to shit on Biden because of Gaza. You have to be simpatico. You have to be joined at the hip. And I think she picked a guy who I think, and it makes me proud because the progressive agenda, if I defy you to tell me that progressivism, that conservatism works better for black people than progressivism.
Well, I mean, you said this. You said vice presidents rarely become president, but I actually looked it up. 32% of vice presidents have become president since 1900. Joe Biden, George H.W. Bush, Richard Nixon, Lyndon B. Johnson, Harry S. Truman, Calvin Coolidge, and Theodore Roosevelt.
More senators become president, but you're right. Okay.
So a third of the time it does happen. So, I mean, that is pretty good odds.
Right.
That is pretty good odds. But Kamala did choose Minnesota Governor Tim Walz.
Right.
AKA balls to the walls.
Yeah. I liked him initially. I liked the progressive mentality. Like, I remember when he became governor, he had a one-seat majority, and he passed all these progressive. The best way, from a political standpoint, one of the most progressive states in the country is Minnesota, right? Mm-hmm. The most conservative state in the country is Mississippi. Yeah. I defy you to make an argument for black people that that conservative works better for them than progressivism. It's not even really a close thing.
I mean, me personally, I liked Josh Shapiro.
Me too.
A lot of people were saying that the reason why she didn't pick him was because of what's happening right now with Israel and Palestine, and there is anti-Semitism is at an all-time high, and so forth. I mean, how much do you think that Israel-Gaza is going to play a role in the presidency?
I know right now people are talking about, rightfully so, because you know how I feel about this. I think that what's going on in Gaza is, and our silence about it and our handling it has been a moral quandary for me, and I don't think it's just me. I think it's been for a lot of people. The thing is, I hate what's going on in Gaza, but I'm not going to let America turn into Gilead because of my objection to it. But
Gilead is what?
Gilead is a Handmaid's Tale. You know.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah.
And I think that Shapiro is also a strong personality. I can't imagine that a man like that wouldn't want to be president. He's dynamic enough. He is telegenic enough. I think that there were a few things. I think the environmentalists didn't like his stance on fracking. I think that some progressive didn't like his stance on tax breaks for the rich, and I think there were some people that probably didn't like his stance that thought that his stance on Gaza could have been problematic. I don't know, but I do know that she had a wide swath of people to choose. To me, the best one she could have picked besides if it weren't going to be him, I would have liked Gretchen Whitmer. But people are like, I'm not going to have two women. So I think whatever the reason is, I think Walz reminds me of Biden with that folksy kind of, granddad kind of thing. And I think that stands in direct contrast to what she is. But I love the notion that we're going to try to be more progressive than we were before. I think that you can't tell me that a nation that wants to control a woman's womb is sane, but wanting to feed children is radical. I don't buy that notion.
Well, one of the things that keeps coming up is Project 2025. Now, Trump says he doesn't know anything about that. He doesn't know about the guy who's behind it, even though there's pictures of them having dinner together and so forth. So let me kind of give everyone a rundown of what Project 2025 is. It's also known as the 2025 Presidential Transitional Project. It's a political initiative published by the Heritage Foundation that aims to promote conservative and right-wing policies to reshape the United States federal government and consolidate executive power if Trump wins the presidency.
Exactly.
So basically plans to assert the entire executive branch under the direct control of the president under the unitary executive theory. It actually talks about reclassifying tens of thousands of federal service workers as political appointees in order to replace them with people loyal to the president.
Yep.
They're saying this would actually dismantle what they view as a vast, unaccountable, and mostly liberal government bureaucracy. That's what people that want this to happen is trying to actually do. And it's also looking to infuse government and society with conservative Christian values.
Right.
They're saying this is basically an authoritative move.
It is.
If it actually happens.
If you've read it, some of the things they want to get rid of Social Security, the social safety net. They want to get rid of Medicare.
Yeah.
They want to get rid of the Department of Education, the EPA, and all these things that get in the way of them making money. But the thing about it is, I don't believe that Trump is intelligent enough or savvy enough. I think he's a useful tool to them. I think that he gets a lot of stuff done, and he's transactional enough to not care. I don't know that he had a position on abortion, but he did what the Heritage Foundation wanted him to do, which is pick 3 questionable judges so that they can affect what they wanted.
Right. Even though the last judge said that he would not touch Roe versus Wade,
they all said
only to vote against it.
All of them said it.
And I hate that, man.
And so I don't know that he has to be. He's a useful idiot to them. He like why pick J.D. Vance? What he wrote a book, and he's a 2020 Project 2025 acolyte. His benefactor is one of the doesn't believe that poor people should be able to vote or that women should be able to vote, that should be consolidated in the hands of the very wealthy. Now, that's the concept of America. At first, it was just rich white landowners. And so when they're talking about going back, but he is convenient for them. He'll barter. He'll buy and trade. The art of the deal for him. So it doesn't, and I said this before, to most white guys, if you're a straight white guy in America, nothing for you really changes, right? Nothing for you. But if you're black, brown, yellow, a woman, handicapped, gay, or anything other, then everything could change. And so I think that the more people have become aware of it, the more unpopular it has been. Like, the thing that I found ironic is he goes on Truth Social and talks about how he made the president of Project 2025 step down. You remember that? Now, how the fuck you fire nobody you knew? How did you fire a motherfucker you had no idea who was there? You don't know what it is. And so I think that if we're being honest, at the time of this interview, it really looks like the Harris-Walz campaign is becoming a freight train. It's becoming irresistible. It's becoming immovable. It's starting to get Obama. There were like all these movies. I think Kennedy was one. I think Reagan was something like that.
I agree.
Movement. Yeah. I think Clinton did that kind of thing. I think.
I'm gonna have to stop you on Clinton because I think that if it wasn't for Ross
Perot,
Perot,
he wouldn't. Yeah,
George H.W. Bush would have actually won.
Right.
Because Perot split the Republican vote.
But
so I can't totally agree with you on that one.
The young people getting involved.
I think after he got elected, people got
right.
excited
That's
over
what,
it.
So then Obama, that thing, because if you look at Clinton, they were more excited the second time than they were the first.
Yeah, I agree.
Obama, they were more for the first time than they were the
Yeah.
second. And I think Trump did that too. I think Trump, people were really excited. Whoever it was really excited. So you see these phenomena. I think you know that something's happening when your opponent is telling you that you made niggas up. Like it's all AI. He's name me somebody who's in the heat of a pitched battle and they don't go out. Like he's not campaigning. He went to Montana. But I don't have anything to base it on. I think Trump thought that this was going to be a cakewalk. He didn't care who he got for his VP because it didn't matter because he was going to win.
Well, I think when Biden was running, he probably did think it was a cakewalk.
No, there's no doubt
Yeah.
So I can get anybody from a
once
VP.
Kamala came around and he saw the actual excitement over her, it was like, now we got a
But not only that, I don't think I think all that money he got, he wasn't going to spend on campaigning. He wasn't. You know that he's going to spend on his legal fees and line his own coffers. Because a political campaign, you need infrastructure, you need offices, you need people knocking on doors, you need people making phone calls, you need people setting up routes, you need all of those things. He didn't feel like he needed it. Like if you look at today, they're reporting that he has all these outstanding debts in all these cities. You got the. I think he was going to keep that money and line his own coffers with it because you know he would. And then all of a sudden, you have a freight train you got to run against. You can't just buy. I watched the Olympics. Did you see one Trump campaign, one commercial? Not one.
No.
But you saw a lot of Kamala Harris commercials, right?
True.
How? Why are you seriously running for president? Because you kept that goddamn money. You was going to keep that money. And now you need it.
Crazy.